In this episode of Mojo Reviews, we're going to depart a bit from the usual tips, tricks, and product reviews and narrate what RV life is all about through a short story. We hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Our tale begins with Walter Jones sifting through his daily mail. He pauses, discovering an odd purple envelope. It was a letter from his late uncle. The letter seemed to be part of his will. Apparently, the family had been gifted his RV and it would be arriving today. What a wonderful surprise, Walter thought. But it really wasn't all that surprising. His uncle had been a bit of a recluse nomad, and according to the letter, it was his dying wish that Walter's entire family take a cross-country trip together. In fact, according to the letter, they had no excuse. There was to be a complete itinerary and apparently everything they could need in the RV, including all expenses paid. The letter, reading like the Princess Bride, went on to promise breathtaking landscapes, thrilling adventures, and the chance to rediscover themselves. With a sense of excitement and a little trepidation, Mr. Jones rallied the family and they all gleefully decided to embark on this journey into the unknown, together. Soon there was a knock at the door, and sure enough, an odd little fellow, calling himself Bobby, appeared with the RV. Bobby spent what seemed like hours explaining and instructing the family on how everything worked. They then proceeded to gather their clothes and some personal items, completing the packing of their already outfitted RV. Now, they had everything they could need for the journey ahead. In no time, they were ready to depart on what would surely be an epic adventure. As they drove away from suburbia, the Joneses felt a mix of emotions, excitement for the unknown, and maybe some anxiety over what they were leaving behind. Little did they know, this journey would change them in ways they never imagined. Their journey was not without obstacles. After only a few hours of driving, it began to pour. The roads became treacherous, but they pressed on until they reached their first rest stop. The unexpected weather continued to howl as they all huddled in the camper. The cell service was non-existent in this tiny little RV park, so they gathered around and told stories. They even broke out a few board games. It was amazing how they didn't even miss the outside world. By dawn, the rain had stopped and the birds were singing and the sky was bright. As Walter walked outside to stretch his legs, he realized just how majestic this first stop truly was. He looked over to the neighboring campsite and nodded to the family making breakfast. He admired how blissfully they seemed, living life in the moment. He felt a sense of calm wash over him, something he hadn't felt in a long time. They spent a little time at the site, meeting their fellow campers and enjoying the amenities. They even got a little competitive with a friendly round of disc golf. Then, after packing up, they returned once again to the open road. Walter's late uncle had them on a schedule of sorts. There had been several envelopes inside the RV when they got it, one for each day. The first had contained a little more than the name of the campground and its location. But today's GPS coordinates had them destined for Mount Rushmore. The journey there was a lot less worrisome than the night before. It was blue skies all the way, and when they arrived, it was clear that the movies and books did not do this piece of Americana justice. Walter, being a huge Hitchcock fan, particularly loved the site for its North by Northwest movie nostalgia. The kids mainly just took selfies that looked like they were picking the president's noses, and his wife just laughed the entire time. It was so wonderful to see everyone living so carefree. It really was just a good day, filled with good, clean, family fun and tourist trap souvenirs. But eventually it was time to depart. Keeping with the plan, they had a bit of a drive left before reaching their parking spot for the night. Again, this campground was full of happy families and scenic nature. Walter wondered, were they all this inviting? The next morning, after some campfire coffee and a hearty breakfast, the clan opened the next envelope, finding this time a simple house key and more GPS coordinates. This time, no description of where, just coordinates, and this where seemed to be in the middle of nowhere. The gang were all excited to see what this day's adventure would be. So far, it had been an amazing experience, and despite the rain, this trip had been one of pure joy. They had explored a majestic national park, met fascinating people, and immersed themselves in the beauty of nature. Then, after driving for what seemed like hours, they really were in the middle of nowhere. It was nice being away from the city lights, away from the rest stops, away from civilization, but it really was getting remote. And then, they happened upon a deep, dark woods, the kind that just seemed to get denser and darker despite it being the middle of the day. As they drove deeper, they reached a point where it was almost pitch black and eerily quiet. Just then, they heard a bang, and the RV lunged to the left. Walter slammed on the brakes as his family screamed. In what seemed like an eternity, but was really only a matter of seconds, Walter brought the vehicle to a stop. Once outside, it was just as he suspected. They had blown a tire. Walter knew how to change it, and they had a spare, but they were so close to their destination, he just couldn't wait. He could literally see the light at the end of the tunnel. Just up ahead, the trees seemed to be parting. The light was filtering in, and it looked like water. The group decided to just hike it the rest of the way and deal with this later. As they walked, it was as if in their literal darkest moment, the woods drew back like a curtain to reveal a spectacular hidden gem, a secluded lake, and a tiny cabin. It was in that very moment that Walter realized where they were, and what the key was for. It was his uncle's hideaway retreat. As they arrived at the cabin, Walter used the key and turned the knob. Upon entering, it was obvious that someone, probably Bobby, had recently been there. Someone turning on the air conditioning, installing fresh linens, and stocking the fridge. And someone had neatly placed another purple envelope on the kitchen table. Walter nervously opened the envelope, and according to the handwritten letter inside, this home was now theirs to own and enjoy, as his uncle once had. And that's just what they did. Spending the day swimming, laughing, and forgetting their troubles. It was a moment of pure serenity amidst the chaos. Eventually, Walter got back to the RV and changed the tire. And as he did, he relished in his thoughts on how this trip, with all its trials and triumphs, had transformed them all. They had discovered the true meaning of adventure, not just in the places they visited, but in the bonds they formed and the memories they created. Inspired by their journey, the Joneses decided to live life to the fullest, because they had experienced paradise. And from the moment they returned home, everything in suburbia seemed a little grayer. They all craved the adventure of the open road. They found this single journey had awakened them, left them reinvigorated, putting a renewed energy into their work and school, and overall life. From that point forward, they each saw every day as a new opportunity, a new challenge, a new chance to put some kindness back into the world. Their journey of a lifetime had come to an end, but it was clear that its impact would last forever. The Joneses had discovered that true adventure is not just about the places you go, but rather the moments you share. And so, the Joneses settled back into their new norm in their old suburbia. But it was a different place now. They had brought back with them a sense of wonder, a thirst for adventure, and a renewed appreciation for the beauty of life. Eventually, they fell back into the daily grind of work, school, sports practices, never forgetting, and all the while longing for that next great adventure. As we wrap up the tale of the Joneses' epic RV adventure, we must remember that every ending is but a new beginning. The Joneses may have returned to their suburban life, but they were far from the same. Their journey had transformed them. They learned to appreciate the beauty of life, the thrill of the unknown, and the joy of shared experiences. Their epic adventure may have ended, but its impact will forever be etched in their hearts. Each sunrise brought back memories of those glorious mornings on the open road. Each sunset reminded them of the breathtaking vistas they'd witnessed. And then, one day, months later, after they had completely settled back into their old lives, Walter found himself sorting the mail and noticed an odd purple envelope. Was another adventure on the horizon? What will be their next journey, and where will it take them? So, dear viewers, as we bid farewell to the Joneses for now, remember that the spirit of adventure lives on. If you enjoyed this tale, give us a like and drop us a comment. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you can join us next time as we embark on another journey of a lifetime. Until then, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and above all, keep living that RV life.